81% of the nation today believes that we are more divided than we are united. If we haven't had the pleasure to meet yet, my name is Emilio Pastor, and I am the host of the EP podcast, where we interview entrepreneurs, business owners, and public figures. It's been now almost 20 years since I first stepped foot onto American soil from Ecuador in pursuit of the American dream, and I've never seen the country more divided than it is today. But because I believe we're better together, I invite you to join me to wear our voice. America starts with us. This is the Patriotic Collection by EP Podcast. If you believe we're better together, wear this patriotic tee that says America starts with us, this patriotic hat that says EP Podcast on it with our eagle, that's our icon for the merch, which is also in black. And last but not least, if you're in the mood for a coffee or tea, there's our patriotic mug, which has the United States of America with the flag stating we're better together and the EP Podcast slogan going down the mug. Available now here or in the link provided. The American dream is still alive.
All right, so
I have to give you a little bit of credit for this.
Yeah, we can overdub it later. Just to...
Had any crazy stories about? Oh wait, no, I do. I got robbed at gunpoint, mugged.
Checking for me, but I ain't checking for them. No.
it's sleazy real estate, guys. But all right, so another episode of the EP Podcast here. Today, a couple of things. One, it's a home team. And two, as you can probably already tell, we have a little bit of a different setting here. And the reason being is because, as with any home team episode, we have our co-host Arthur Hannick here, and we're actually at Arthur's house. So, Arthur, thank you for hosting this episode of the home team in your lovely home. So, we have the background here. We have the nice fireplace. We got a whole thing going. But Arthur, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm good. It's been a long day. I feel good. Gotten a lot of work done. But I'm more excited that we're doing a home team because we haven't done a home team in probably like 2.5 months. So it's been a while. But yeah, we're going to go over a lot of different things because there's a lot of different things happening right now in not just the US, but in the world. And it's going to range from politics to health to business across the whole spectrum, essentially. So, you ready for that, Arthur?
I am.
You gonna dust yourself off a little bit? It's been a while.
It has.
Okay.
We've had some scheduling conflicts and travel, and
it's been a busy past few months. It's been a busy past few months. But before we do that, if you haven't already, like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any more episodes coming in the future because there's a lot of big things coming in the future with the EP podcast. So, Arthur, we have 11 topics here that we could go over with, and I'm slightly concerned that we're not going to have enough time to go over all 11, but we're going to make the best that we can with it. So, let's see. Of the ones we have so far, we have things like Elon Musk donating $75 million to Trump's presidential campaign. We also have him doing the whole SpaceX thing with Starship booster catch. We have the current state of the 2024 election. We have early voting in Virginia, Grand Egyptian Museum to open. I don't know. What do you think we should start? Should we start like a soft start or what? What do you think?
I'll go into something a little bit deeper to start with, and then we'll...
Okay. So then should I just go off from the top?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. So Elon Musk has donated $75 million to Donald Trump presidential campaign. So I'm not going to be lying. One of the
Well, it's not necessarily his presidential campaign.
Right. So then what I was going to say was that, the beauty about this podcast is you get the opportunity to educate yourself in a lot of things that otherwise you wouldn't have if you're not around it. Me, myself, mostly included. So, and sometimes that means taking it from the top. So even that's what the hell does PAC mean? So Political Action Committee, as we said, that Musk didn't directly donate that $75 million.
Correct.
It was that Musk created his own PAC called the America PAC.
His own PAC, but it's not just a PAC; it's a super PAC.
Okay, and what do you happen to know what differentiates a super PAC from a regular PAC?
Super PAC means that there's no limit on contributions from corporations, individuals, etc. There's no cap. You can donate as much as you want. If he was donating directly to Trump's campaign, there's a cap. If he was donating to a regular PAC, there's a cap. But in a super PAC, all the rules have been thrown out, and that's been since 2010 when super PACs have been allowed to be in existence. And that's really when politics has gotten pretty shaken up with that change.
Yeah. So, and, I got curious about, because one, where does 75, million go to, but let alone what his PAC was. And, there's this website where you could go to, I believe it's just called americapac.org. And you can see there what the values of Elon's PAC is. And that goes down to secure borders, sensible spending, safe cities, fair justice system, free speech, and self-protection. Now, a couple of things I want to pick your brain on here is the first, what do you think about Elon first, probably not even 6 months ago, probably like less than a year ago, he was saying that he wasn't going to vouch for any candidate at all. He wasn't going to get himself involved politically or anything. But then, then comes out in Butler, PA, the second time that Trump appears in Butler after his first assassination attempt. And then he's jumping around with Make America Great Again hat, all black. What are your thoughts on that?
Sounds like he should be running for politics as well, since he keeps flipping his position.
Yeah. So, but do you think Musk has any really? Do you think Musk, as the person Musk to be, of Musk, do you think he's really one that should be getting his hands in this?
I'm against the whole super PAC idea to begin with, and as we saw with Obama getting elected, Obama didn't get elected based on super PACs. Obama's donations were all minor donations, $10, $15, $20, and he was able just to raise as much money as his competitors with these small donations. But I think that also says something. When you have so many small donations, that means you have the support of the individual. So just one person throwing all this money towards one candidate doesn't necessarily mean that's going to translate into more votes. It just kind of secures that you got that one, but what's going to happen is that money going to really convert others.
So, I think we've had the discussion before that government shouldn't be ran like a business.
Correct.
All right. Well, the reason why I thought of this is because, there's incentives being put in place for Elon Musk PAC. There's earning opportunities with the movement he's doing. There's a thing called, and correct me if I'm wrong in pronouncing here. Is it a canvasser?
I'm not sure.
So we're going to go with canvasser. English is second language here.
A canvasser. Should be a canvasser.
Canvasser?
Because he canvasses the area, so it'd be a canvasser.
So a canvasser, there's a position open or positions open that allows, essentially what it is a person who tries to persuade people to vote for support of something. So Elon Musk is actually hiring people in, I believe, the swing states to go around and encourage, political activity. And he's paying upwards to $30 an hour, which, it sounds like a pretty good gig, $30 an hour. And that's just one of them. The other thing is there's a referral aspect to this too, where you receive $47 for each registered voter you refer that signs a petition pledging support for the First and Second Amendment. And the reason why I say it reminds you of a business is because now we're talking about incentives here.
Yep. We're
incentivizing people to take certain action. So what are your thoughts on just, not just this PAC happening, but the specific that there's monetary incentives on this?
It's not right. At the end of the day, there shouldn't be trying to buy votes, and that's exactly what this is.
Well, buying votes is illegal.
Correct.
Buying votes is illegal. This is not necessarily buying votes.
It's not.
But
you're paying people to go out there and then try to entice others.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're more incentivized to do so when you're putting a little bonus structure in here to get petitions signed and get more support.
Right. But I mean, people do it anyways. They encourage their neighbors to, in conversations, whether it be at the table or by a drink or whatever the case is, to, why this is of it, why this party is of interest more than the other. But now they're just getting paid to do it too. So, it's kind of like a added bonus to it, if you ask me. So, like, if, for example, if you're a Trump fan, obviously Elon is fully, endorsing Trump here,
Right.
and he loves talking about Trump, and everybody loves talking about Trump with your network, and you just have some people in your network who are, undecided or maybe not fully on the left, whatever the case is. Now you're getting the opportunity to take some time to not only educate yourself to influence somebody, but also educate someone else on something and get paid for it, right? So, I mean, is there really anything wrong with that?
Well, I mean, I guess it also comes down to are you giving up a job? Are you giving up other financial opportunities to do this? Because once this campaign's gone, so is this paycheck.
Yeah. Well, one of my buddies that I know, he actually lives in Pennsylvania and was able to apply for the Pennsylvania positions, and he immediately, at least from what it appeared, he immediately got accepted to it. I don't know the complications behind it, but I know that, you have to be a voter register in that certain location, and then as well as sign the petition for the First and Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. But then today, Elon Musk is in Pennsylvania doing a town hall, and he had the opportunity to go there and make money just showing up and doing whatever is needed of him. So, and he works a full-time job. He's a full-time managerial position and decided to just embark on this. So he's making his regular income plus that side income on top of that. So, I mean, I just have a hard time seeing any negative in it.
Yeah. Again, your friend sounds like they're entrepreneurial, so they'll try and do a side hustle with their day job. But if others aren't taking it that way and they're using this as a source of income, this source of income is going to dry up in a couple of weeks.
But wouldn't that just be user error though? Where they're going into it, it's going to be like, oh, this is going to be a job, and expecting that. This is a temporary, it's like a seasonal thing, call it.
Yes, but does everybody look at it that way? If somebody gave up on,
but that's what I'm saying. Is it user error, or wouldn't that just be user error?
It would be user error.
Okay. So, I mean, dude, if I was in PA, I'd tell you, I'd be the first one to line up and just, for one, Elon Musk is one of the most interesting minds in our lifetime. And just to have the opportunity to potentially get to meet him, I would be immediately interested in that. But then on top of that, getting paid $30 an hour in an economy like this, where people are struggling and, try to get a job or just make any additional income, I think it'd be great. I don't see why not. And then on top of that, the referral incentive, $47 and then $30, bro. I don't know. If I was in Pennsylvania, if you're in Pennsylvania and you're doing a whole lot of nothing in general, you should be doing this. And if you're, an Elon fan or a Trump fan or just whatever the case is, you should just go ahead and do this just to get some income in your pocket, But that's what I had for Elon Musk donating the $75 million. Any other takes on that?
No, I think that sums it up.
Yeah. Okay. So should we stick to the Elon thing while we're here?
If you want.
Okay, so
there's also the politics side of it. So
So should we stick in the politics, or do you want to do?
Let's knock out the politics items. And
okay,
do them all at once.
I think Arthur just wants to. Arthur just wants to get
politics
political
behind
here.
us.
No.
So
you want to get political. You've been itching.
No, so we can end on a good note.
You've been itching. You. The last time you had a home team was right before Joe Biden dropped out. Mm-hmm. When you said that there was 0% chance of him dropping out.
And that was a complete mistake from the Democratic Party to push him to drop out. Mm-hmm. And that's always going to be the case. You backed a candidate, and then after you voted for them, you're like, no. I want my vote back because I want to vote for somebody else.
Yeah, but the dynamic changed after that debate. That was... Given the details around it, that was the deciding factor, seeing how Biden performed in that first debate with Trump.
Okay. But Biden stepping down put Kamala on top on the ticket.
Yeah, because who else was there?
Okay, but if Biden didn't step down and continued the election and then was determined, or if he felt that he was not able to do the job and stepped down, who would be back on top? Same end result. Kamala.
Because even after the first debate, there was a scheduled second one.
There was.
So he wouldn't have made it out to that one. And it probably would have arguably been worse. Because he got COVID after that, didn't he?
He got COVID after it, but I mean, that has nothing to do with the debate. I mean, anybody's susceptible to COVID, so that doesn't mean getting COVID doesn't mean anything. But I mean,
when you're Joe Biden age, COVID hits a little different.
Well, what happened? Well, hopefully Trump doesn't get COVID, because then it's going to be the same argument. I mean,
it is the same argument. It 100% is. Well, Trump hasn't got COVID yet. During this season, at least that we know of. So, I mean, there's that. So, okay. So the reason the headline here was we're going to talk about the state of the 2024 election, just numbers wise, where it was, where we were finding it to be. And the New York Times currently has Kamala leading by 2 points. Kamala 49 and Trump 47, with the swing states, 4 of the 7 of them right now being in Kamala by less than a point, and Trump has 3 of them with 1 by less than a point and 2 by more than 2 points. So that's for New York Times. Where are you at with that?
There's a lot of different polls out there, and essentially you'll be able to find a poll that's going to support whatever results you're looking for. But what I always find concerning is, just like when Trump won the first time against Hillary, almost every poll pointed that he was going to lose, and he won. And for the most part, all the polls are pointing to Kamala going to win. So if history repeats itself, I think we'll be looking at President Trump back in office.
So that was going to be my next question, is where do you see, based on everything that's going on right now and everything that's been happening with Kamala's run, where do you see this coming out to November 5th? I know you're saying that we're not going to know the decision right away.
We're not going to know the night of. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a few days until we find out. Hopefully we'll find out. Elections on Tuesday. Hopefully we'll know by the weekend. I'm not sure if we'll know by the weekend.
Who do you think we're going to see 4 more years of?
Honestly, at this moment, I think it's going to be Trump.
Okay, and where's your mind at with that?
It's not the result that I want. A little bit nervous if that's going to be the result.
What's your concern?
I'm with the change that the Supreme Court has made. They've opened the door that we could actually be under an authoritarian rule in this country, that this could be the end of democracy. That this little social experiment that we've had going on for the past 250-ish years might finally be coming to an end.
So let me ask you something. Define democracy for me.
Free country.
Okay. And so what's being fought here is democracy, right?
That's on the line, yes. That could potentially be on the line.
Okay. And do you think it's on the line for Kamala? Because the reason I ask that is because the concern with Kamala, with people who are not big fans of Kamala, is socialism and communism.
Okay. So
do you think that's part of being of a concern of not just democracy? Because some people would even say we're not even a democracy. We're what is it? People say something republic. Is it see, it's something republic. It's
definitely not banana republic.
No. It's because that's what they said that we're a democratic country, but it's not. It's a something republic. It escapes my mind. I wish I had internet here to tell me otherwise. But and the fact that you don't know it at the top of your head kind of makes me a little concerned, because it's something I hear often. But what do you have to say for those who say if Trump, because Trump, your whole thing with Trump is him being the dictator, but the dictator and then putting democracy in line. But then the thing with Kamala is, socialism and communism. So what do you want here?
I I want some of the rules to go back to the way they were. We've taken apart too many rules in this country, and things have fallen apart since then. And we need to put those rules back in place. I would like a Supreme Court where justices can only be elected to the court with 60 plus votes instead of just majority. And unfortunately, 3 Supreme Court justices ago, that person wasn't able to get the 60 votes. So instead of taking them down and finding another person to put up, which we have historically done for 2 centuries, we decide, let's just change the rules to the game and fix it so they'll be able to get in with the votes that we have. And as a result, that was a massive mistake. And the Supreme Court justice, when they go into major battles, major decisions, it should always be a 4-5. One way or another, it should be a 4-5. We had a 6-3. That's...
Who do you, I mean, but of what we have to order here, you know, who do you think is better fit to be a leader for the country right now, of the two?
Of the two?
Yeah.
Kamala.
Okay. Why do you say that?
I mean, have you watched any of Trump's recent interviews?
I didn't ask you about Trump. I asked you about Kamala.
Well, you're asking me to choose between Trump and Kamala.
Yeah, you answered Kamala, and
Correct.
I asked you why Kamala. And your answer was Trump. Because you know what? The reason why I say that.
My vote is not for Kamala.
The reason why I say that is because
against Trump.
The thing with Trump, with the Kamala right now, is everybody's saying, why? When you ask people why are you voting for Kamala, their answer is, oh, because it's not Trump. It's either it's not Trump or it's not Biden.
Correct. That's what we're having another election where we're not voting for someone, we're voting against someone.
But in the current state of the country, what makes Kamala a better candidate than Trump?
She's a hell of a lot more level-headed than he is. She will listen to other people's opinions and actually think it through and go with their advice.
And you're saying that Trump doesn't do that?
When has Trump ever done that?
And you're saying,
ever. His entire career. There's a reason why he runs his own company.
Arthur, see, that's just where I don't agree, because I've seen plenty of interviews in the past 6 months between Kamala and not for the moment Biden dropped out to now. The interviews I've been seeing, because they're going on a political on a marketing campaign like crazy, with interviews and podcasts, mainstream and independent media, and I see like Trump, he tends to be a decent listener. I'm not going to say perfect. I'm not going to say amazing, but I'm going to say a decent listener. And sometimes he'll shoot you back with questions. Kamala, on the other hand, I just see her, and I see it with both. But when I hear it from you, it's totally one-sided. I see Kamala dancing around questions all the time. She just did an interview. I believe yesterday. What was it? 60 Minute? Not 60 Minute. We were just talking about recently, like yesterday. It was like an interview that came out with her.
Oh, she did an interview with someone on Fox.
Yeah. So and then she got checked, and because what the whole thing with her is you know, you're gonna do this, that, and the other. That they inherited this crappy economy or state of being in the country because of Trump, but then in that same road, Kamala and Biden have been in office, so they're in a way part of it. And then the big question that they get with her is you know, oh, she's gonna do this, that, and the other. Why not? Why not already? Like, why are you not already doing it?
Okay. I don't. First of all, you haven't been in the country your entire life, so I don't know if you took a civics class. I
have taken a civics class, but I would also argue that I'm more American and patriotic than a lot of the people born here.
I'm not saying that you're not American or patriotic. What's the role of the vice president?
Huh?
What's the role of
to support the president? Sure.
So what policies does the vice president get to make?
Huh?
What policies does the vice president get to make?
But Biden will straight up say, has said before publicly that Kamala has been there for every single decision that he had to make.
Correct.
And
I would expect a vice president to be that.
But then she, you know, so Arthur, let me ask you a question. You and I are good friends. We've known each other for 10 years, right? And part of what has made our relationship as strong as it has been is that you're willing to tell me when I'm fucking up, when I'm not doing what I should be doing. But at the same time, you'll praise me when you give me whenever it is that I deserve praise, or when you seem like I deserve praise.
But you also get to make your own decisions. I'm not telling you what to do.
Sure.
You go down the wrong path and make mistakes.
Part of support,
and a lot of times you come back and say that was a mistake.
Part of support isn't that, part of supporting the president isn't that also telling him, hey, maybe we should reconsider this. Maybe we should do this, or maybe we should, have you thought about this? Doing this differently.
That would be support. But at the end of the day, the president makes the decision, not the vice president. Do I make your decisions, or do you make your decisions?
No,
I take my advice, and then you decide what you do, whether you follow it or not. It's up to you.
The difference between that example and the example of a presidential role is that my decisions affect me.
Okay, but
the president's decision affect the country.
But you're also coming down on the standpoint that I am 1,000% pro Kamala and everything she's done is right.
No.
I just follow
I think you're more anti-Trump than you are any Kamala.
I'm against Trump on a couple of big issues.
Uh-huh.
The biggest issue is January 6th.
Uh-huh.
That's one big issue. The second big issue I'm against him on is that the election was stolen. Where do you stand on those two? Was the election stolen?
Well, with January 6th, what I do know is that there has been some. Okay, from what I recall from January 6th, Trump, did kind of he was saying about protesting outside of the Capitol, but at the same time, footage came out later about Pelosi admitting it was she didn't. I don't know if she knew this was being recorded or not.
I saw that.
She admitted that she did not take as much of a.
You saw that whole video, not just the clip that they keep flashing around. You saw that whole video.
She straight up said that she played. She felt responsible for it too.
Did you see the whole clip?
I did.
The whole video.
So tell me, okay, and you're gonna tell me that it was skewed differently.
What she said was, if we knew about this in advance, then we are just as guilty. She was asking, did we know?
No. Trump had offered additional security on there.
No, she didn't. No, he did not.
Yes, he did. Trump had offered to give her, I think, support from the National Guard, and she had turned it down. I remember it was exactly from the National Guard.
She's not the one who makes that decision.
But she specifically said, we turned it down. And and in that video, at some point, she said that she felt accountable for it.
If you watch that whole video, you realize that the clips that they're showing are skewing her words, and that's not what was said. But okay, move on from that. Because that is your one hang up on January 6th, is that Pelosi feels partially responsible as well. So it's not all Trump's fault.
I'm saying it's not first off, the mainstream media will do what it needs to do to get numbers.
Correct.
And the media will 100% any day of the week will get more numbers framing Trump in any way than they would frame anybody else. So I think that the media is doing their job, but at the same time, it's not in the best interest of every other viewer.
Okay. What's your opinion? Was January 6th a beautiful day for this country?
No one's saying it is. It was a terrible day for the country. It was an embarrassment.
That's not what Trump's saying.
What? Okay, so what is Trump saying?
Trump's saying that was just another wonderful day in the country.
Come on.
Listen to his words. He says that there was no issues. If you were watching the camera, it was just like people were taking a tour of the Capitol on any other day.
But what's the context of that conversation?
They asked him, what did he think of January 6th?
I don't know what you're referencing right now, but I get okay.
And he's still saying
Trump is no what's the word?
So move off of that one. Let's go to the election being stolen.
But I just want to no. So Trump, the thing with Trump is he has a very sometimes insensitive dry humor.
This is not humor.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that, and in context, and in the right context, or the wrong context, things could come off the wrong way. And this has happened on both sides. And this has happened on both sides.
It does. I'm not arguing that it doesn't. It does.
Yeah, but all you're giving me is Trump, Trump, Trump. When are you going to tell me something about Kamala? Okay, so
you're
January 6th.
You're asking me who I'm voting for and why. My two reasons to not vote for Trump, to completely vote against Trump, are those two reasons. So I don't care who the opposing person is, unless they have a hell of a worse story than that. But so far, nothing Kamala has done has raised it to the level that I'm not voting for her based on what Trump has done. If Trump steps down from running for election and the Republicans put somebody else up now, then I'm going to it's going to be a completely toss up for me because I'm not sure who to vote for. But at this moment, with Trump on the ticket, which is what's going to happen, and because of these two issues with Trump that he still refuses to believe, and he just said the other day that they stole the election from a sitting president, that they forced him out of office. And when you go back and look at the numbers of the votes, the last round, he lost by over 7 million votes across the country. And if you look back at the past couple of elections, past 4 elections, I believe only one of those elections has there been a greater difference in votes. 3 of those elections have been on a smaller margin.
And you think that these numbers can get skewed any other way? Like any illegal stuff happening behind the scenes?
That for the election to be stolen from him?
In general speaking, from anybody.
The country has, for the most part, the country has moved on and agreed that the election was not stolen, that Biden won fair and square. Trump is still saying that's not the case. Other Republicans that are Trump supporters are saying it's not the result I wanted, but it's what happened. He lost.
Okay, so January 6th and the election.
Those are 2 major issues for me.
Okay.
Yep.
Hello. Pass me the remote there. It might just be a sleep screen. There you go. So your 2 things with him are that, do you have anything for Kamala that actually gives you any confidence with Kamala?
I'm not voting for someone, I'm voting against someone. And those 2 issues are strong enough that I am voting against.
But you're saying that she is the better fit leader for the nation at this current time.
She is.
But what makes her that?
She's actually open to hearing other people's opinions.
But what is that? What?
I see her surrounding herself with the right people. In the last 4 years, how much turnover has there been in the White House?
And, do you think...
How much turnover was in the White House the previous administration?
Okay, do you think if something is not being ran correctly, it should get... Okay, in a company, when it has bad employees that are not doing good for the country, do you not think they should get fired?
They didn't get fired. They left. They quit. So what does that say? Well, that's a problem on management. If you have a constant turnover because your employees constantly are leaving, you keep filling positions and they keep walking out on you, what does that say?
I think that when a company that's not aiming to grow, or a nation that's not aiming to grow, because I haven't seen much of that recently here, there's a lot of complacency, and when there's complacency, there's no pushing outside of the comfort zone, and people just lay still. And I haven't seen any drive from Biden, from Kamala, from any other the big voices in that field that are really striving for growth in any way. And I think when everybody's in that same bubble of, everything's dandy and great, there is not going to be any leaving or firing because it's too good to do anything, to leave or fire. Because to that same example, what you made earlier was you could have a crappy leader that is not let go because resource-wise, it's better to just keep him there and replace. Then replace.
Leader. Better to keep them there. That's not how the presidency should be run.
But I'm just saying if a leader's doing bad in the country, a president, there's an impeachment process, no?
There is.
Okay. So why do people even aim to like impeach presidents? Because either they're not happy with them. It's mostly because they're not happy with them, or they're doing something really weird. The impeachment
process has gotten ridiculous at this point. They threaten to impeach every time someone turns around, which is ridiculous. It needs to be held for the original intent of which it was.
What I'm getting at here, that firing or staying is neither or a good, because there could be a hiring process, a hiring problem that equates to turnover. There could also be a leadership problem that equates to turnover. So it could be twisted either way.
Okay. So if they're hiring the wrong people and it creates turnover, then
it's a hiring problem.
It's a hiring problem.
It's a qualification problem. It's a vetting problem.
To an extent. But when you keep hiring people and they don't work out, it may no longer be a hiring problem. It might actually be a company problem.
Okay, I agree with that. So, but you're saying that the administration, because no one left or no one got fired, that everybody's just happy and content where they are.
I can't put myself in everybody's position to say why they keep choosing to come to work every day. But I can tell you that when there's a press conference, the press secretary can answer questions. And the
White House press secretary is the queen of dancing around questions, dude. I'm sorry.
But she's holding press conferences. How many press conferences were held before?
Okay, and you could put somebody in a position and it could just be a dead corpse, but that's just not how things are. It should be. She's literally in my time that I've been watching politics or just like becoming aware of them, I've never seen someone not directly answer a question more than the current White House press secretary.
But you're just starting to watch politics.
I'm newer to politics, 100%. But this is not just my sentiment.
But she's coming out and constantly having the conferences, correct?
Okay. Sometimes, just because you come out, just as you show up, it's not enough.
They stopped doing them all together.
Huh?
Before, they stopped doing them all together.
Where? In Biden's administration? I mean, Trump's administration?
Yes.
Now.
Research how many press conferences were held under Trump.
Yeah,
but under Biden,
it's quality over quantity in that sense. Oh, because all we get from this press secretary is quality. I mean, it's quantity, not quality.
Okay.
And the media is constantly coming out with videos where she just dances around the questions.
But that's always been the case with press secretaries in the past. But they've always been out there.
And what's the point of that? If you don't have answers to questions, then why even come out? It's like where Apple recently just said that they might not even do annual events anymore because they're running out of new things to offer. So, okay, they're not going to do it as much now. They're probably going to do it every other year. So just because you're having more press done doesn't mean that's necessarily better.
Okay, so let's flip the script on this. Why are you so pro-Trump?
I'm not pro-Trump. I'm an independent.
So am I.
I'm independent, but you come off you come off more left.
Put someone decent on the right for me to vote for. And frankly,
honestly, if there was somebody, and right now our options, as you said, are Trump and Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Trump is the more qualified leader at this point in time for the current state of the economy, of the country. If the country was in a different position, I might have reconsidered. But I haven't seen anything from Kamala that's really impressive to me. I haven't seen she dances around questions. She never gives you a straight answer. You haven't really seen any plans until recently. But then the question comes of why hasn't already not happened. And I don't know. I just don't see anything about her that really says
Okay, why it already has not happened, we've already discussed. She's the vice president.
that. See, I don't see that being an excuse though, because you got to. So is the reason why? So one of her main duties was
Okay, what did Pence do for 4 years?
who?
What did Pence do for 4 years?
I mean, Pence was like, see,
He created policy? No.
well, Penn didn't agree with everything that Trump was doing.
Okay.
Trump did, and he's a very he's a very religious man.
Yes.
And he constantly had to deal with answering the questions that of Trump's actions or the pandemic.
Okay.
So it posed almost like because he didn't agree with everything that Trump did. So he was not burdened. Well, I was gonna use that word. He had the dichotomy of disagreeing with the person he's supposed to be supporting and what he thought was right. So Kamala being Biden's supporter is not the same thing as Pence being Trump's supporter. Two whole different dynamics.
So that was okay that Pence didn't do anything in office, but because Kamala supports her boss, it's not okay because she doesn't have the power to.
So let me ask you, what has Kamala done?
She's the vice president. She doesn't create policy.
So you're telling me the role of the vice president is to do absolutely nothing?
The role of the vice president is to pretty much sit there and hope that your boss doesn't get shot. That's been the role of the vice president since it's been created. You're number two. You're just supposed to sit there and waiting.
And they have no active role.
They have no active role other than being an ambassador outside the country, being the face of the nation, going and doing public events, going to ceremonial events. They don't have any official role. They can go out and do market research. They can collect data. They can do some studies. They can gather information. But for the most part...
And have you seen Kamala doing any of that before Biden dropped out?
The country ambassador going around, yes, she did that.
And you're saying that the border, she held no responsibility in the border neither.
What was her job for the border?
She held no responsibility. So what I'm asking you, because what I've learned to know is that she also had responsibility in making sure that things in the border were as they were supposed to be or rolling in effect.
Zero responsibility on the border. Zero. What was her role on the border?
Well, it's the same thing as to what the same reason that you can't answer me. What has she done?
Because she's the vice president. What's she supposed to do?
I could flip the question on you.
Go create policy?
No,
that's not her job.
See, but you're drawing the role of the vice president to be almost insignificant.
What do you think the role is?
So you're saying that the vice president role is just pretty much insignificant, and is really just for the sake of if the president dies, they step.
Her most important task is the deciding vote in the Senate. So if there's a 50-50 vote, she's the 51st vote. She's the deciding vote. That is her most important role.
But that's any vice president. That's just not her.
Correct.
Again, that doesn't answer the question of what she has done. You were born in this country.
The vice president doesn't have a role of things to do.
Okay.
The vice president's role is to support the president and go and do as needed as requested.
Yeah. So, it sounds like we both have questions that we can't answer.
Okay.
But the saying is follow the money. There's a saying out there that goes follow the money, right? It has to do with Vegas and all that stuff like that. Follow the money because that's typically what people do is they put their money on what they actually say or believe in. Mm-hmm. So there's this platform called Polymarket. Okay. Right. Polymarket is essentially you go in there and you bet on all things going on in the world. Right. And the one thing that's people are betting on right now is who's going to be the presidential elect. Yep. Right. And they have right now a betting volume of over $2 billion.
Okay.
Which currently has Kamala at 39.6% odds of winning and Trump at 60.5% odds of win.
There we go.
So
isn't that what you asked me at the earlier, is who I thought was going to win? That's
So what do you think is the difference between that and a poll like, the New York Times where Kamala and Trump, it's like the inverse?
I would have to understand the dynamics, but the flaw with general polls is if they are just polling the nation, you can get the popular vote and not win or you can get the popular vote and not win. That's how Trump got the office the first time.
Yeah.
He didn't get the popular vote, but he still won because of the Electoral College. And when you graph out the
and they're saying that I think I heard somewhere that Kamala's could win the electoral, but Trump will win the popular or something like that. The other way around.
I mean, sounds like Kamala's going to win the popular.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean she's going to win the election.
Okay. So, but tell me about that. I thought this was interesting. Poly market is like a newer thing. I never heard about it before until this year. And it's just like that's a pretty big difference. I mean, that's like a 40% difference there. Why do you think? Because there's actual money being involved here, actual people putting their money in there. And if I had to guess, the people on this website are probably around my age, anywhere from like 20 to 40, anywhere from 20 to. I know it's a wide range, but just generally speaking, it's a newer market, so the younger people are going to catch on to it first. But why do you think that the people are voting this way with their money?
I don't know. I mean, just like, could this be one of those things like ages ago when the telephone first came out, and I forget which president and which person was running, and they did a telephone poll of who was going to win.
Okay.
But the part that they didn't take into...
Not everybody had a phone.
Not everybody had a phone.
Yeah.
So those that had a phone tended to vote Republican versus those who didn't. So they called people on the phone, and the people who answered were most likely Republican. So they printed the newspaper. They went to bed early, printed the newspaper, and then woke up the next day and realized, oh, shoot. But that study was ineffective.
Are you telling me that more...
So that's why I'm wondering, or is it more likely to be someone who's going to...
Is it the people with more money are betting or Trump more?
I wouldn't say more money. It would...
The people with money.
That doesn't have a bearing.
Okay, so are you saying it's an H?
I'm saying, are you more likely to gamble if you're going to vote for Trump than you are for Kamala?
Are you asking me this?
Are you more likely to be a gambler?
Uh-huh.
Are you more likely to go on to a site like that and make a political bet if you're a Republican or going to vote Republican versus being a Democrat? That would be my question.
Because what this is saying is that you have more. What this is, people have more confidence in Trump winning than Kamala. This is what this is saying, which is why they're putting their money there.
Right, but that's also...
But it's a sentiment. It's a sentiment. Is it that they feel like Kamala is incompetent? Does it feel like that Trump just has a way to win?
Okay, but this is also betting. So how is this designed? I mean, are they...
It's just betting. It's either who's going to win.
No. There is no just betting.
It's who's going to win.
There is no just betting. There is no just betting.
Okay.
Because if they're like, we think Trump's going to win, and everyone goes on there and puts the bet on for Trump, where's the money coming from to pay it out?
Huh?
Where's the money coming from to pay it out?
It's a pool. It's a pool from all the people that are putting the money in there, betting on it.
Right, but the odds keep changing, or the
it all depends on where the money's going.
Right. So what you're trying to say, so the way this is working is if more people vote for Kamala and Trump wins, then the people who chose Trump versus Kamala will get a larger piece of the pool.
If we're thinking from just betting, from a betting perspective, those who right now vote for Kamala in poly market, that means that it's less likely to happen based on that bet, which means they'll get the bigger payout.
Okay.
So based on betting, that would be it.
So as more people place bets on one person or the other, the odds of that
from a betting perspective, people are placing the safer bet here.
Okay. So then, yes, then that means that data is skewed based upon if you're not.
What do you think is more likely to happen is essentially what they're betting on.
Okay. So, but again, it's also does everybody have if you're Republican or Democrat, or do you have an equal likelihood of going on this, or is it more that more Republicans would go on versus Democrats? So I think this will be interesting to see how this pairs up with the actual results.
It's fairly new, so I guess
so. This could be one of those things that if Kamala wins, it could be that more people who were Republican were likely to go on to this website and place a bet than Democrats. So then you can't use that as a polling metric because there's already a skew in the population.
Yeah. It'll be definitely interesting to see how that lines up. So, okay. So I want to say that's mostly American politics. That's two topics. That's been two topics. We're about 45 minutes in.
Okay.
We have a few more. Where do we want to go from there? Because you were talking about early voting in Virginia. Is that what one of your points were?
We can go into early voting in Virginia.
Tell me about that.
All right. So Virginia actually, for the past couple of elections, has been keeping track with how many days into early voting and to who the winner or who was voting for who. If you're a Democrat, we're voting for a Democrat, or Republican voting for a Republican. So they kind of kept track of where the metric stood so many days in. So at this point last year, it was more Democrat heavy that voted early. So far this year, it's switched entirely and it's more Republican heavy. So they're saying if you were in Virginia and you were early voting this year, you're more likely to be a Republican than a Democrat, versus last year, you're more likely to be Democrat than a Republican. So that completely switched. So now it's kind of curious about why did it switch on which party, because typically they were expecting trends to be the same, that if you're typically Democrat and you typically vote early, then we expect you to do so again this year. But they're saying this year, it looks like the registered Republicans are coming out and voting early.
Okay.
Versus registered Democrats.
So you're saying that essentially that the Republicans are being more active than the Democrats in that state?
In Virginia, it's switched, and the Republicans are coming out early versus the Democrats.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
But they're also noticed that there was a tighter margin, that last year there was a 20% swing from Democrat to Republican, and this year there's only a 14% swing from Republican to Democrats. So
say it again.
It's a tighter margin of before it was Democrats were coming out heavier by 20%. Now this year it's Republicans are coming out heavier by 14%. So they're also anticipating that this is probably going to be a closer election than it was last year, because there's not as big of a margin in difference.
Last year as in...
last election.
Okay. That's interesting. All right. And do you think that it's not that Democrats have flipped?
Well, last election, it was... their metrics are based on whether they're checking off registered Republicans and registered Democrats and registered independents who vote. So they're keeping metrics based on what your registered affiliation is and have you voted versus have you not voted. But the last election, it was the absentee ballots, which can take a while to count, turned out to be predominantly Democrats that did absentee ballots. And I believe last election, it was also Democrats that did early voting as well.
Okay. Interesting to see how that plays. Do you think at this point there's going to be any drastic change in the time left?
There's always something that happens. I mean, it can be the week of, and that could completely call the entire election.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Well, have you voted yet?
In Delaware, you can't do early. I don't think you can Can you do early voting?
I have
Paul?
no clue. That's what I'm asking.
I don't know if you can do early voting. I mean, you can do absentee ballot and send it in, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's literally at the end of my street where I go to vote.
You can just
so
walk there.
I'll just wait until November 5th and walk there because it's literally at the
But
end of the
I
street.
like the idea too of also voting the day of. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so early voting in Virginia. That's that. Let's see. We also have. Let's see. What do you want to go into after that?
Well, how complicated of a subject do you want to get into, or do you want to just keep it on lighter subjects? And
Yeah, let's see. Let's go into a little bit outside of politics and government. We're talking about Elon earlier, but with Elon, there's SpaceX, and SpaceX just the other day launched their Starship. Not only launched it, but also brought it back and caught it, and what some people are even calling chopsticks. Did you see that video?
I did not.
How do you not see such a video, man? So I wish you would have told me. I would have shown you the video beforehand. But yeah, essentially they launched. They had a launch where they sent it out and then they brought it back and they caught it on like these two, essentially what looks like chopsticks. It really does look like chopsticks.
And it's SpaceX that they can launch and then pinpoint that they can land it back down on a dime.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and
that's
it was
SpaceX. All right.
and it was on their first attempt, which it was even crazier the thought of. So
Well, for what, the Starship?
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, for first attempt. So, and just a few details about the Starship. The Starship stands around 400 feet tall when it's launched, right? Which puts it at 100 feet taller than the Empire State Building and 31 feet taller than Saturn V, which is the next tallest rocket ever built. Now, what I thought it was interesting too is the amount of innovation this guy does. Well, obviously, it's not just Elon. He has an amazing team. When you watch the video of them catching the Starship, you see how the team just goes crazy, like an excitement and everything. It's truly something to watch. I was wondering, it's like, how does this guy manage to do all this? But also, I've seen more SpaceX in the past, I don't know, 3-4 years than I've seen anything of, NASA. So I was wondering, first, what's NASA's comparison to this? And what I found was their Space Launch System, SLS, which is at 322 feet, right? And that costs around $2.2 billion to make, whereas this costs $90 million. Now, from a cost perspective, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. But also really makes you wonder is like, why is Elon making, by the way, something that NASA hasn't done.
Correct.
How is Elon making this much more progress in something that has been around for as long as it has been, like NASA?
Okay.
Like NASA. And someone made a comment.
What'd you find out?
Someone made a comment. Someone made a comment about this, which made me think, that's the difference between public money, like NASA, and private money, like SpaceX. So, I'm for one, it's an amazing step forward, and it's the right term would be space travel, and right,
yeah,
and space travel, and it makes you wonder. It's like what is a company like NASA doing? In terms of innovation.
Well, NASA isn't doing a whole lot in innovation. Their funding got cut significantly. I don't know exactly how long ago, but it's been a decade plus. And part of the reason that they decided to strip NASA of its funding was to also allow private innovation. So they wanted to be people like Elon going out and doing their own venture and be able to create these ideas.
Yeah, I mean, there's Bezos' Blue Origin. There's Branson's Galactic.
Yep.
What is it called? Is something Galactic?
Is it Virgin Galactic?
Virgin Galactic, and then there's Elon's SpaceX.
Yep.
Which it's like it's business 101, right? It's the ultimate winner here is the consumer.
Correct.
Is the consumer, where more competition comes into the marketplace, which forces people to innovate at a faster rate, and we end up winning because eventually it's is the word democratizing space travel, or not democratizing, is it's a more, it's just like there's more market activity for consumers in there. I forget what the term for that is. But I think it's also, but like at the same time, it makes you wonder, like, what the hell are these guys doing? Let alone the fact that this guy has 12 kids and then managing everything else he does. So for example, I listed it here. He has SpaceX valued at 200 billion, Tesla at 700 plus billion, Twitter X at 9.4 billion, Neuralink, where they put the chip in your brain and everything, at 3.5 billion. The Boring Company, which has things like the underground tunnels, at 5.7 billion, and XI, which is direct competition, XAI, direct competition to ChatGPT. So at 24 billion. So
9.4 billion for Twitter. Now, isn't that's
drastically down? Okay, but it's also because that's also because I believe he made it private. Did he not make it private again, or not yet?
When he bought it, that became private.
Yeah, I think he made it private, and also he cut staff like substantially. But he also knew that this was going to be a hit he was going to take. But he, to quote him, it says, if the difference of that evaluation going down was a price to pay for freedom of speech, then it's a price he'll pay. So it really makes you think of how amazing the opportunities that you can create here in the United States of America, but also how much one person is capable of doing in terms of not just innovation, but with the right support. I think that's outstanding. And I say what you want to say about Elon, he's borderline going to go down as one of the brilliant minds of our lifetime. But that was all me. What do you think of this? You have to watch the video, dude. You have to watch the video.
I mean, he does create a lot of amazing things. It is impressive that of everything he's created. There's no doubt about it. But he's the one thing that always stops me from investing in Elon is he's still just too volatile. And he can come out.
But I think that's the accountant in you.
But I don't. That's too big of an investment risk, and that's too much for me to be investing in when somebody could say something and the stock could either go up or down 20-30% by one sentence, and can do the opposite the next day, or it could continue the same track. Like it's too volatile.
So you don't have that much confidence in the guy.
His volatility. I mean, if he wasn't in front of the cameras as frequently, that could be a different story. And if he focused on the ideas, but because he's doing the ideas and he's coming out and being a spokesperson, that's where there's too much volatility.
Now, do you think people are buying more of these companies, or they're just buying more of Musk?
Tesla, I think they're buying into Tesla because there's this huge push on Tesla.
Okay, but that wasn't the case.
That was not the case.
Even just 5 years ago.
Was not.
So do you think, like, one of my favorite quotes by Alex Ramosi is that confidence is not yelling affirmations in the mirror, it's building an undeniable stack of proof that proves that you are who you say you are. I don't know how many more billions you need to prove that you are who you say you are. I mean, this guy is a serial entrepreneur to the bone. I mean, not to mention even his successful exit out of PayPal. Like he was the founder of also PayPal, if not one of the founders of PayPal. So it's just amazing what this guy could do, and it might be one of the first trillionaires too. One of the first trillionaires.
We'll see who gets that because it's
Zuckerberg has been jumping up.
He has been, but I mean, historically, people jump up and then they take a big step backwards.
Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of ups and downs just generally with the top 10. I know Forbes keeps constant track of who the top billionaires are. and it's always like jumping up and down. I mean, like the only one there that who has really constant, like not linear, but like consistent growth is probably just Warren Buffett, because his thing never changes.
But then people like Buffett and Gates, you wonder, would they have already been trillionaires now if they hadn't donated so much of their wealth already? Because they're both close to the $100 billion in donations mark.
Okay.
So if they, instead of donating that money, they kept it and kept it growing, would they have been able to grow that into closer to $1 trillion and then have more money to that they could have been given away? But that's not the way they saw it. They felt that they need to be giving away money now and helping out causes that need their attention now.
Yeah, but I mean, all of these billionaires donate to causes. Now, to the extent that they do, with these billionaires, I always tend to have like an open door, like a two-way door kind of perspective on it, just because, yes, they can give substantial amount of money, but at the same time, they're getting that back in reputation, like almost tenfold, I feel, just because they're able to make examples like the one you just made. So that's where I'm always, I think it's great. Anyone at any point, if you could donate, that's great. And I think it's awesome that you get the what's it called, the advantage of, being the guy who donates and is given as much as it is. But I always keep an open mind to that. But what else do you want to go into, Arthur? Should we close it out, or should we close out with one more? What do you think?
Let's close out with some good news.
Okay, give me
a little bit later.
You're voting for Trump.
No, I said good news.
Okay.
The Grand Egyptian Museum is finally opening.
Grand Egyptian Museum. Where's this located?
Egypt.
Oh, is it? That's like right around the street.
Exactly.
Okay. So I didn't even know about this museum. Tell me about it.
It has been going on for over 2 decades now.
2 decades? Okay. Did you see about the one dog that somehow made it up to the top of one of the pyramids?
I did not see that.
It just randomly came out I just started my feed the other day. I thought that was weird. But yeah, tell me about it.
So they broke ground on this in 2002, and scheduled completion was supposed to be 2013. 11 years worth of delays, and made it sound like they were opening imminently within the next couple of days, and then they'll do a grand opening in 2025. The cost of this is around $1 billion. Mm-hmm. So this is a massive amount of money to pour into a building for a museum. It's also 5.3 million square feet.
Oh, snap. Okay.
So it's a massive building.
Yeah.
And it's expected to house over 100,000 items.
Okay.
And it's been a long time coming, because the other big museum that they have, it's dated. It was built in the Victorian era over a century ago, and it's overcrowded because obviously it's a smaller building. So they're hoping that this is going to make it easier for more people to go and be able to see the antiquities. And due to its sheer size, a lot of massive stone carvings and stone statues will be housed inside, so they'll be well protected from the elements.
Okay. Well, are you going to be buying us tickets to go there?
Unfortunately not, because the downside to this at the moment is Egypt is considered a level 3 travel advisory warning from the United States.
Dude, I've watched so many YouTube videos of people traveling there, and it's like people are on you nonstop. It's like they try to make it seem like they're helping you or anything, whatever the case is, but they're really trying to scam you in some way, whether it's through like, I don't know, like just extremely high prices, like overcharging you for stuff, or like it's just crazy. Well, I'm not going there anytime soon.
No, so unfortunately, this is a great place to put on your list to go, but at this point in time, it's not safe for us to go there.
Yeah. So we won't be going there, but we will be going to vote.
We will.
It's coming up November 5th. Today's what? October 18th? 17th. What does that put us? Like less than 2 weeks? Like 2 weeks?
Roughly 2 weeks.
Roughly 2 weeks to vote. go out and vote. I was born in Ecuador. I came to this country to make something of myself. Voting, I believe, is a luxury that we should all take part in. No matter...
Doesn't matter who you vote for. You just need to go out and vote. You have the right to vote in this country, and a lot of countries you do not get that right.
Exactly, and it's just part of being American. Part of coming to a new country is not letting go, but you let go of some of who you are to become hopefully something greater.
And if you don't go out and vote and have the ability to, then you don't get to comment on politics because you missed the boat on that.
That is true. You find out a lot of these people who comment on politics don't even partake in them.
Yeah.
And one of my, what is it, by Plato, is one of my favorite quotes. It's, those who refuse to take part in politics will be governed by those inferior to them, or something. I'm paraphrasing here, but it's essentially saying that by not raising your voice of your concern of whatever the case is, you will be overtaken by those who are loud and ignorant. It's essentially saying that. So take part, get involved, and while we may not agree on everything here, we still believe that America starts with us. As one individual, in one nation under God, individual, freedom and justice for all. And with that being said, we do have a special collection, the Patriotic Collection, the EP Podcast merch right here with the eagle. EP Podcast at the bottom says Patriotic Collection. And with that, we have a white one. We have a black one. We also have a coffee mug right there with the EP Podcast slogan going down, a picture of the United States of America with the flag in it. And then a t-shirt here that says America starts with us with the eagle, EP Podcast at the bottom saying better together. And I'm sorry, I just flipped you off. But here with the Patriotic Collection. If you don't want the one in white, you have the one in black as well. I'm wearing it as we speak. So go ahead, and if you believe in opportunity and working together and becoming stronger as one, go ahead and pick yourself up a collection so people know that, one, you believe in unity and you're also a watcher of the EP Podcast. But Arthur, it's been lovely. I appreciate you going back and forth with me a little bit. I always feel like I have a lot more to learn anytime I speak with you. If you haven't already, like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any more episodes to come. And until then, we'll see you soon. Thank you, Arthur.
Bye.